So here's box 2 of 2, and judging by the weight of it, I think this contains the rest of the records. Prime Minister's record collection. So I don't know what we're going to get. You saw the catalogue description was just a collection of records, mainly classical. So could be anything. Forget some of these, most of these maybe were given to him on his travels. And of course he might have purchased some himself, I don't know. So, let's look at the first lot. So the World of Great Classics, Decca Budget Label album. Okay. Now this looks Russian. Melodia Records. Another presentation set here. Okay, there we go. So that's clear, it's Romeo and Juliet. Yeah. And yeah, that's the State Melodia label from Russia. I don't think that's been listened to either. It's a 3 LP set. Home Sweet Home, Victorian Songs and Ballads, Volume 2. The late Andre Previn's involved in this, by the looks of it. So 1976. Okay, here's something a bit more interesting. Hands Across the Sea. That's the coat of arms, I think, of the Queen and somebody else who I don't recognise. Looks like another presentation set. Hands Across the North Sea. Okay, so there's Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth and Philip, and there's Her Majesty Queen Juliana and His Royal Highness the Prince of the Netherlands. So that's the hands they are referring to. Okay, that's commemorating when the Queen set foot on Dutch soil in 1958. Some writings here. And a record, specially pressed by Philips, Dutch company, made in Holland. Doesn't give any clues really to what's on it. So, there we go. I might give that a play a little later, see what's on it. So was there a date on this one? It's dated 50s there, I think that's late 50s, 1958. Can't be too many of those around. Ah, right, okay. Here we are, Ralph and Albert and Sydney. Ralph McTell recorded live at the Royal Albert Hall and the Sydney Opera House from 1977. Just like to check inside, because you never know what you find inside records. Here's the choir of Worcester Cathedral in Choirs and Places. From 1975. Lena Martell. Very easy listening, with very special love. She actually had a #1 single in England in 1980. A song called One Day at a Time, if I remember correctly. It's not actually on this album. Which I think is before then. Yeah, this is from 76. Okay. There's a sheet from a Johann Sebastian Bach album, which you may come across later. Another Russian album, very dusty. Not sure what that is. Oh, there we go. That's going to help me. That's, of course, Tchaikovsky, The Nutcracker. There's the Melodia label there, from the 60s. Another Russian album, Sergei Taneyev, Russian classical music. 1983, that is stated. That's the 80s Melodia label. And that is Scriabin, I don't know him. Russian from 1982. Okay, lots of Russian records in here. Let's have a look at the next batch. I wonder where he got all these Russian records from. Okay, maybe, here we are. This is maybe a function which I'm sure he attended. The state funeral of Sir Winston Churchill in 1965. Yep, January the 30th, 1965. He would have been there as Prime Minister. It was a very big event. I think the only Prime Minister to be afforded a state funeral. Until Margaret Thatcher, I think. Kellam at Canterbury, Sir Thomas Becket. Festival concert, December the 11th, 1970. Historical anthology of music, the Bach Guild, the Song of Songs, Renaissance music. I'd like to look at the dates. That's the Prague Madrigal Choir from 1973. This is filthy. Oof. Really filthy. Sounds Arresting. That's a good title for an album. By the Devon and Cornwall Police Choir with Cynthia Glover and Arnold Oates. There they all are. Sounds Arresting. Yeah. Let's have a look at this. Is there a date on it? There's a 78 actually inside that album as well. The Warsaw Concerto by Mantovani, from the late 50s. I think it looks 70s. Okay. Manxman, Sir John Betjeman and William Bealby Wright, reading selections from the poems and letters of T.E. Brown. There he is. Okay. Yeah, 1976. Kind of a British record collection without Stanley Holloway. Yeah, and actually this one is still sealed. Okay, there we go. It's like there's an advert from a newspaper there. Partnership administrator. It's a job advert for solicitors in Ringwood. Wonder if he was considering a new job. Also, what we've got here are Suburban Attitudes and Country Verse. John D. Loudermilk. It's an American pressing, also still sealed. Country People Are a Different Breed. That's 1967 on RCA. What's this? Time In, Time Out. Time In, Time Out, a rock opera by Rob Ward and Mel Bourne. Is that a private pressing if ever I saw one? There's a letter from Harold in here too. I think it's a photocopy. The Prime Minister, I retain many happy memories of Royds Hall School. I was particularly pleased to hear that the school's choir and orchestra had recorded an LP. I know from personal experience the high quality of their music and the enjoyment which it gives. I'm sure the record buying public will give them support which they deserve. Harold Wilson, 29th of March 1976. It's a photocopy of a letter he sent them. And this is the album they recorded on Look Records. Time In, Time Out. And this is, just some sort of poster or lyric sheet that goes with the album. That's interesting. Brass in Blue, the band of the Devon and County Constabulary. That's a patriotic stuff. That's signed for Harold to remind you of the delectable something. Duchy, I don't know. Roy Bradby. Oh, I don't know. Anyway, probably somebody involved with the Devon and Cornwall Constabulary. On Black Mountain Records, 1979. Some Gilbert and Sullivan overtures. From 1972, it says here. And God, these are getting filthy. This is absolutely filthy. More Gilbert and Sullivan. D'Oyly Carte Opera Company with the Philharmonic Orchestra. Decca Records. 1973. Russians are back. Ivan Sertsikov sings. There he is. More Russian stuff. 1981. More Gilbert and Sullivan favourites. Similar to the album we just saw. More Russian, Andrei Korsakov, violin, from 1982. And Peter Ilyich Tchaikovsky, the Russian album, from 1977. Oh, that's a heavy lot. Okay, more Gilbert O'Sullivan, Gilbert and Sullivan. More, we've got this full set here, I think. Yeoman of the Guard. HMS Pinafore. I think I've seen a picture of Harold Wilson with someone wearing a pinafore saying HMS Pinafore. Yeah. There it is. And here's the album. Oh. 20 brass band favourites has come out without a sleeve. Okay. Okay. The Art of Simon Huss, which I'm guessing is him. It's inscribed to Harold Wilson. A great, wonderful man. Many happy returns. Something go. Cease you always. Simon Huss. There it is, a signed copy of this album, The Art of Simon Huss. Great dramatic tenor. I don't know anything about Simon Huss. I don't think that's the record, is it? Maybe, yes it is. Great Hebrew Prayers in Song. Okay. Guessing that's from the 60s, maybe early 70s. Pirates of Penzance again, Gilbert and Sullivan. Yep. This is an album of 78, so I'm guessing Beethoven, played by Arthur Schnabel. Yep. There we go. Pianoforte Concerto in E flat. Yeah, this is an album of 78. Oops, sorry. Yeah. Beautiful things. I think this is from the late 1930s. Wonder if it's something he bought at the time or picked up later. Don't know. Very handsome, solid set. Oh, right. I think old Harold was a secret Monty Python fan, because there's Monty Python's tiny black round thing. A flexi-disc which had the Lumberjack song on this side, and D.P. Gumby presents Election 74, which of course Harold Wilson won. There we go, that's quite a nice thing. So I can imagine him secretly listening to this and chuckling to himself. Gumbies, that was Michael Palin. You know, my head is in the cupboard. It's characters with the hankies on their heads. A box set of Bach on Decca from 1977. 3 albums. Okay, a couple more. T.S. Eliot, Murder in the Cathedral, the Royal Shakespeare Company, with Richard Pascoe as Thomas Becket, from 1976. Double album. The London Emmanuel Choir and members of the Westminster Symphony Orchestra, Whispering Hope, signed by Edwin T. Shepherd, which was the conductor here, and Muriel Shepherd, which was probably his wife. From 1968. John Reed, I Have a Song to Sing, Oh, to celebrate his 25th anniversary. Recorded under the direction of Dame Bridget Doyley Cart from 1976. Danny Kaye. Danny Kaye at the Palace. Danny Kaye sings your favourite songs. American pressing from, I'm guessing, the mid-1950s or early 1950s. On a very old Decca label. Very early microgroove recording. It's a nice shape. And who knew? Harold Wilson was a big Billy Connolly fan. Well, he got a record anyway. Whether he bought it or not, I don't know. Oh, that's nice. There we go. To Harold Wilson, PM, Billy Connolly. So Billy Connolly sent Harold Wilson this album. Whether we listened to it or not is another thing. One of Britain's greatest comedians, Billy Connolly. Sadly now not in the best of health, but a legend nonetheless. 1974 album. This is some Russian folk dancers by the looks of it. Romanian actually. It says Romania, made in Romania. Some Romanian dancing. Oh, for the Wings of a Dove. The choir of the Christ Church Cathedral, Oxford, from 1982. Your 100 Best Tunes, Volume 5. Looks very comfortable, doesn't it? Okay, it looks as though it's been played a little bit. From 1971, I think this LP is from. Some light classical music. 73, actually. 73. It's the Pirates of Penzance. Gilbert and Sullivan again. This album from 1968. Phase 4 Stereo Spectacular, Gilbert and Sullivan again. Selections from some of their most famous productions. So Phase 4 Stereo from 1966, directed by Sir Malcolm Sargent. There it is. And HMS Pinafore making another return. Yeah, Harold really liked his D'Oyly Carte records. This one's looks as though it's been played quite a bit. It's actually recorded in June 1930. Oh, okay. Okay. It's a copy of Beatles, Hard Day's Night. Not signed, unfortunately. That would have been rather spectacular. But, there we are. Oops, looks like don't think he enjoyed this one very much. It's pretty much unplayed to me. Of course, 1964 being the time when he presented those Variety Club Awards in March 1964, and this album came out in July 1964. There we go. More Gilbert and Sullivan overtures. A piece of cardboard, a piece of corrugated cardboard, which obviously once had a record inside it. The Mikado, more Gilbert and Sullivan. And another signed copy by Edwin T. Shepherd and Muriel Shepherd of Let the Whole World Know, the London Emmanuel Choir. No record in there. Here's a record, a souvenir record. What's this? The Wycombe Savoy Opera Company, Trial by Jury in HMS Pinafore, Gilbert and Sullivan, October 1971, souvenir record. Oh, this is a private pressing, obviously. Very heavy. It's pretty homemade. Yeah. So that's a private recording of this production. And it's got the name of, looks like Gordon It's Gordon somebody on it. Let's see if we get any clues from the back. No, I can't see a Gordon anywhere on there, first glance. But yeah, there we go. That's an interesting, whoops. Sorry about that. That's an interesting batch. Onto the, is this the last batch? Yep, I think this is the last batch in the box. Heavy stuff. Okay, box set. A box set of more Gilbert and Sullivan, HMS Pinafore again. He really loved that opera, didn't he? Yep. There we go. That's a Decca Phase 4 stereo set from 1971. This is a box. An empty box. Has a symbol on the front and rather a unsettling pattern on it, but nothing inside it. Madrigal recital. More Romanian records, yes. And another one, maybe actually, I think these came in that box. Yeah, famous Romanian folklore ensemble. And more traditional Romanian folk music. Maybe Nicolae Ceausescu sent him all these. Handel's Messiah, conducted by Michael Sargent. That's not that, that's the Crown Imperial. That's something else, that shouldn't be in that box. This should be in the box. It's World Records Retrospect series, so it's old recordings repackaged of that. Separate colour. Yeah, the bands of the Hong Kong Police Force. Stereo. Yep, there we go, on Columbia. They are the Hong Kong Police Force. It's sometime in the 60s. Joe Glazer sings Charlie Bird on guitar, Down in a Coal Mine. Okay, not really sure what that is, but there's a letter inside. And it's a letter from the Embassy of the United States, dated London, October 19th, 1976. Lady Wilson. Dear Lady Wilson, as I mentioned in my letter of July 22nd, 1976, I saw my friend Joe Glazer, the composer of Labour songs, and he asked me to present you with this most recent rendition of Miner's songs. He's also inscribed the cover. Mr. Glazer's address is... blah, blah, blah. I hope you'll enjoy these songs, as I have, with best wishes and kind regards. Henry H. Pollock, Labour Attaché. Okay, so he sent this record, and Joe Glazer has indeed signed it. For Lady Wilson, with best wishes, Joe Glazer, dated July 29th, 1976. That deserves further research, but a nice thing. Alberta Casey Cantas Esperante. Still sealed. Still sealed. US pressing. Another large 78, looking like it's from the 1910s or something. This is the Gilbert and Sullivan. The Coldstream Guards, the Gondoliers. Very old record. Beethoven album from Germany. East Germany by the looks of it. St. Denis Choir, In the Male Voice Mood. No date on that, although the inner sleeve gives the date of July 79. Signed on the back, with very best wishes. The chairman, by the chairman, the chairman. And finally, it's more Romanian folk songs. Oh, bonus Romanian folk songs by Sophia. Somebody. There you go. So I hope you enjoyed that unboxing of Harold Wilson's record collection. Feel free to leave a comment, like, or subscribe to the channel. And I'll see you again soon with some more interesting records. Thanks for watching.